says we're live.
Does
So
it? Okay.
We're gonna go with this. Hi, folks. This is Ron Tyler coming to you from the Crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. We're live on the Freedom Revolution Network. Sorry about that. I am your host at the Emergency Management Associates, Ron Tyler. I am so very sorry that this happened. We had a complete system failure on our end, on my end, and it knocked us off the air. I believe Microsoft wanted to do a complete update on my Windows system, and I stopped it until midnight tonight, which means I have to be off the computer by then. But I stopped it, but I am back for now, and that's a great thing. But we want to welcome everybody here that has joined us and has stood with us for the past probably 30 minutes trying to bring us back up on the air. We are so sorry that this has happened. I had no idea that the Windows was going to try to shut me down or do an update, but we're here. We are very, very sorry. Anyway, what have we been talking about? Hello, Scarlet?
Yes.
What have we been talking about for the last half hour?
Well, we've been talking about, the earthquakes in Cascadia.
Yep.
We've been talking about that. We've been talking about the crustal influx signatures that Terry came into the chat and started talking about.
Cool.
We have quite a few things that we were talking about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, things are different. Like I said, from day to day on the seismograms. I don't know what that viewer was talking about. Everything seems the same every day. It's not. It's really not. It's been going different. Everything is different. Every day is different. So that's what we're heading to. We're looking for more information. Every day we look for more and more information on these earthquakes, the seismograms. Like we pointed out just a little while ago before things went haywire, we find earthquakes that are not reported. We have found information that we were not even looking for. It's just horrible. It's horrible. I am getting more and more totally amazed at what happens. Literally at what happens. It's something that neither Terry or I have ever thought would happen. We honestly didn't. The fact of the matter is that as things change, we draw closer and closer to the Cascadia event. And I think we proved that over the months that we have been broadcasting with Terry. And we were even looking at it, not with seismograms, but when I have been on here either by myself or with Scarlet, we have seen many, many changes going on and many large changes going on that we thought we'd never see. But it just continues and it continues and continues. And it will continue. It's not going to stop. Mother Nature, God, does not change. He doesn't change. He's the same today, yesterday, and forever. But as we move forward, we're going to continue to see changes with the earth. And that we were pretty much promised hundreds and millions of years ago, that things on the earth would continue to change, and they have. So we can't deny what has happened and what is going to happen. We have to continue to prepare ourselves and to move forward. We can't afford to just sit back on our laurels and just let stuff happen. Because if we do, we're going to get hurt or killed. And me, I want to stick around this this little bit of a horse show forever, if I had my way. I want to stay around for as long as possible, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Somebody is asking us on YouTube, what is an herbal remedy for severe pain? We're going to be talking more about that tomorrow. We promised you yesterday
Yes.
that we would be talking about herbal remedies and essential oils on tomorrow's broadcast. So that's where we're going. That's where we're headed with this.
Yep.
This is going to be a very significant time because we're all working together for the same goal of preparing for major changes in our lives. So tomorrow's herbal remedy show includes herbs of all kinds and essential oils.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring out of my bedroom. I'm going to bring essential oils.
Yeah. Oh, I got some right here. Yeah, look. I have some right here. I love this oil. It's called Energy, and it can work just as well as coffee if you're tired. It's something I use a lot during hurricane season because, you know, you need that boost of energy. This one is unopened, as you could see.
Yeah.
It would also be available for purchase, I guess, because it's unopened. And I just enjoy it a lot. But it has a mix of, what does it have? Rosemary, juniper, lemongrass, nutmeg, balsam Canada, clove, and black pepper.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a great one.
That's cool. But,
yeah, I always have my diffuser in here and most often always going, or I have my frankincense burner or something going.
I've got my diffuser upstairs. We have diffused frankincense. We've diffused a Christmas blend.
Oh, yeah.
That doTERRA came out with a long time ago. And it's awesome.
Young Living has a similar one called Christmas Spirit.
Yeah, so. Christmas Spirits. There you go. Christmas Spirits. It's very similar to the Christmas blend.
They do everything the same, and they have the same scents. Deep Blue is Pan Away, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know. Thieves is On Guard, you know.
Yes. Yeah. It's awesome stuff.
It is.
It really is.
It's all good stuff.
I've diffused eucalyptus oil.
That is very good for breathing issues.
Yeah. And if you put, I try to put a couple drops of eucalyptus. I don't put it directly on my skin. It's so strong it could burn you.
Yeah.
Always put it with a carrier oil such as coconut oil.
Right. Or you could even use vegetable oil. You can use olive oil. You could use grapeseed oil. You could use avocado oil. There's so many oils that you could use. Or even just putting it into your lotion that you already have. That would also make it a carrier.
Yeah. But don't put it straight on your skin. But when I'm really sick or can't breathe, have a head cold, chronic bronchitis like I get, and I get the sinus problems, I will put it with a carrier oil. Usually I put it with coconut oil because that's what I use. I use it as massage oil and everything else. But I put it with a little bit of coconut oil and put it right at the base of my neck. And it helps. You can also put it on your sternum because it'll help with your breathing, your lungs. It'll help open that up. Open the air passages up. So you can put it on your upper sternum. You can put it right below your neck, and it'll help your breathing open up. I like to diffuse it at night because I still have a little bit of a head cold. I'm getting over it still, but it helps me breathe better at night. Now, I don't have that medical condition where you stop breathing for a period of time. I don't right now.
Sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea. I don't have sleep apnea. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
Yeah, I don't have sleep apnea, but you can stop breathing if your sinuses are all plugged up. You don't want that to happen.
No.
So the few,
One oil for pain though that I do know, and an herb or remedy,
yeah,
copaiba. Okay, so copaiba, right? And copaiba it has the largest amount of beta carotene outside of cannabidiol. So it's a natural form of CBD, and it's an anti-inflammatory. And it's very good for like aches or things of that nature, inflammation that you'd want to, have within your body, or any type of distress in that nature. But it does have the constituents, like I said, the highest amount of beta carotene. You can do your own research on beta carotene, find out what that could do for you. But that is my recommendation.
yeah. There's quite a few things you could do. I don't have everything in front of me.
I just happened to have this sitting right next to me, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, I have a big book, a very large book from doTERRA on the uses of the different oils and how they can help you medicinally and everything. And it's very, very good. It tells how to use the medicinal oils for your health, your pets, your children, everything. So we're going to discuss this tomorrow night. We'll go into depth.
I'm excited. And we're going to bring Terry too.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this style, and then we're going to have Terry, and I think he can join us with the phone audio. We'll figure out how to do that and grab the number for him before we do that show, and we'll kind of practice it a little bit beforehand. Maybe we'll start 7:30 your time and start practicing on that. But other than that, we were going to have a great show tomorrow talking about herbs. And the reason why we started this broadcast today was for the simple fact that Mississippi was having some issues with flooding. And the flooding is continuing down there for who knows how long.
So we don't know how long it's been going on. One of the things that I was told a month ago when I was talking with the people over there about the Mississippi, because I've been talking to them about the Mississippi. I've been talking to them about the New Madrid, about Cascadia and stuff. And I was worried because of all the flooding this past spring. And so I was asking them. And I was asking them what shape the dams were in, because I've been researching all of the dams throughout the country. This dam, that dam, anything that's been around for a very long time, 50 years or better. I wanted to know what's going on. That way, if something happened, I could talk to you guys about it. The Oroville was one of them. The dam just outside of Riverside County that was in danger of bursting last spring and flooding all of Anaheim and half of the LA area. Millions of people flooded out. I've been following all this stuff. That particular dam was built by the Army Corps of Engineers, and it's still in the process of failing. The water level is very low, and I'm hoping that the Army Corps of Engineers and the powers that be get the money and everything together to repair that dam before this next spring, after everything the snow starts thawing again, and we have flooding again. But I've been talking to quite a few people, quite a few agencies all over the country about dams and flooding, and the Mississippi especially, because it had and still has issues with flooding. And I was told a month ago, oh, no problem, everything's fine. Well, guess what? It's not fine. And now we have a dam that's in the process of bursting. Imminent process, meaning it could happen at any minute, any day. So now I'm worried about that again, and I'm going to continue to research it. I'm going to talk to people. If I can, I'll even bring them on the air. It's necessary. It's necessary so we can be aware of what's going on, so we can make decisions and plans in our own life. That's been our whole our whole philosophy since day one. Speaking of which, someone last night, this morning, and it wasn't in chat,
Okay.
it was on a Facebook page, said that I was going the same way the other man that was doing earthquakes was doing, and that he and I had huge egos, and I had to reverse my ego and reverse the way I was going, or I was going to suffer burnout. That is so far from the truth, it's not funny.
It
And
is.
I want to tell her right now, face to face, if you're watching me, which you claim to have done,
Right.
if you're watching me, I'm so far away from burnout, it's not funny. I'm not going to do the same thing that he did. I have not shown that manner of mannerism. I have not shown anything like that. And no, I don't have a huge ego. It's not about me.
It's not at all. No, not at all. Ron wouldn't come over to the Freedom Revolution Network if it was all about just him. You know, we're a part of a larger group here together. We're just trying to make good programming, good shows for everyone. Of which, if any of you would like to start your own program, you can get a hold of us and have a program just like Ron and do the same thing we're doing. But no, Ron has no ego. Ron is really selfless when it comes to what we do here, and I would hope that that would come across.
Yeah.
But if not, that could be lost in translation, and maybe it's not your fault to fix either.
Yeah. So all I'm telling you, and everybody that pointed that out, because I've seen it on Facebook. I saw the exact post on Facebook. Been there, done that. But I'm telling you, I'm not close to burnout. Yeah, sometimes I get tired. That's because I work a lot of hours for you. I do.
You do, yeah.
You know, I've done a lot of work for Scarlet here. I've done a lot of work for Mel on this network. I have pulled my hair out at times, trying to help us make decisions and get us through things.
Yes.
You know, and I probably given them gray hair, and I'm sorry if I have. Because
I don't have any yet, Ron. I don't have any yet. They might be blue, but they're
blue.
not gray.
Maybe I need to change mine to blue too.
Yeah, blue's the way to go. I've had every color hair this year, though. I've had blue, I've had rainbow, I've had pink, I've had blonde, I've had, so the last year I've had all different colors. So
yeah.
I don't know what 2020 will be.
Yeah. A few years ago, if you don't mind, I will tell you guys a story. There was a guy named Lauren Nancaro, and I'm mentioning his name on the air because this man was a friend of mine. He was somebody I looked up to over the years. He was a broadcaster on a television station in San Diego. He was a weatherman, and he was an everything man. He was into natural foods, natural healing, natural everything. He was a great man. And he left San Diego. Yeah.
Okay.
He left San Diego for a time and went up to San Francisco to work at a TV station up there. And when he was up there during 1989, as you all know, there was a very major earthquake. I believe it was 6.9, 7.0 in 1989, October 7th, I believe it was, during the World Series. October 7th, 1989. I think that was the date. Sometime in that time period. But he broadcast live from the San Francisco Stadium during the earthquake. He was broadcasting live before that, and he continued to broadcast live well into the middle of the night and the next day after the 1989 San Francisco earthquake. He and his partners at his television station worked long, hard hours during that time. Lauren eventually came back to San Diego and worked for the Fox affiliate there. At one point in time, Lauren was in the one of the local supermarkets and had some medical issues. And he later went to the hospital and was diagnosed with a tumor in his head that he called the blob. He continued to get treatment. He had surgery. They said that they got a good share of it, but didn't get everything. So at some point in time, he knew it was inevitable that he would be staying here on the earth, that he would be leaving us. And he made every effort for his family, the viewers of his on the TV station, his fellow employees, to make things better for them. And they tried to help him as well. Even towards the end of his life, he knew he was going to go. They tried to stand by Lauren. Lauren and his wife went in and painted their fingernails blue. The reason I'm talking about this is Scarlet has blue hair. And Lauren and his wife painted their fingernails blue and toenails. So word got around, and as it turns out, a lot of people that he worked with at his TV station painted their nails blue. And that wasn't the only people that did it. People all over San Diego County that had watched and listened to Lauren over the years, and people that were friends of his and acquaintances even painted their nails blue, and I did as well. Notice I don't have anything on my nails now. I did to support Lauren for about, I want to say 2 weeks. And then when Lauren passed away, I threw the nail polish out because I don't normally polish nails, but I did it to support him and what he was doing. And I told everybody that asked me why I had blue nails what was going on. So that's the story of blue nails. If it happened again, I'd do it again. Lauren was a dear friend. He was not a colleague necessarily because I never worked with him, even though I did some work for a TV station that he used to work for and helped several people there. But I admired what he did and what he meant to that community. And now there is a garden. There is a garden at the Cancer Center in La Jolla that I think it's named after Lauren. It's a healing garden. So that's what he did for the community. And quite honestly, hey, Terry, welcome.
What's up, Terry? Oh, Nap, we've gotten our technology up to par now.
Yes, Terry's connecting. That's awesome. But no, I'm not going to burn out. I don't have an ego. And it's not about me. It's about everybody else, and it always has been and always will be. Terry, welcome, brother.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I had no idea what was going on here.
Right. But now we're all here together. Isn't this something?
Oh, I love it.
A Zoom meeting. I was going, what's a Zoom meeting? Who's put what on my computer? And then, okay, well, it's from Emergency Management Associates, I guess.
It's from Rod. It's trusted. Yeah, it's trusted. It's our new way that we're going to be able to do programs together. So I figured we'd test it out tonight before we do our herbal show tomorrow to see how it works when all of us are together. But here we are, and it's working. And I just have to play with the VB cable tomorrow to make sure the speaker picks all of us up. But we'll do one test tomorrow, Ron and I will, to make sure we can get the audio pipe through there. And
Sounds
then
good.
everybody should be able to hear us.
Yay.
Oh, that's good.
That's great. Terry, appreciate
I'm not
your
going to
help.
have to dress up for this now, am I?
No,
No.
You'll just hear me.
we just hear you right now. You're not
Yeah,
on
we
video.
can't
or
see you
anything.
right now at all. It just says Terry. Like, I can open up my camera. I haven't shut down for a second, but I can open up my camera. But then, yeah, no, you don't have to be seen.
No. It doesn't matter a great deal.
No.
You can be heard and not seen.
Yeah. That's what everybody's used to anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what till today everybody was used to that too. They'd never seen me either.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a new thing.
It's okay.
Right?
It's okay. It's proving technology that we can do this and have people on the air together and working together for a common goal.
This was a dream when I was a kid. Like, you know, they always had TV shows that showed like video chat and video phone and this and that. And we thought that was going to be the extreme future, maybe by like the 2100s. And here we are.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
we've moved along.
Just a little bit. We've kind of come up a little ways in the world.
Just a skosh. Just a skosh. Oh, gosh. Anyway, Terry and I discussed some things earlier about earthquakes. We talked about that Canadian earthquake on the East Coast, and we talked about the earthquakes going on along the, not necessarily the West Coast, but the western portion of Canada and the United States, northwestern part of Canada and the United States here. But what do you think about those new quakes over in British Columbia tonight?
Tonight I haven't looked. Give me half a second. I will look.
Oh, let's go all look together because look what I can do. Bam! I can share my screen, and then we can go all look together. Let's go.
Yeah. There were 2 quakes up in Canada earlier today. Let me bring it up here.
Hey, you see, I'm shooting over there right away here. I can still talk to you guys and look at this now, you see.
Yeah,
Yes, isn't it lovely?
it is lovely.
I enjoy the technology upgrades. I'm here for it.
It is. It's great.
I don't know if it'll tell me on here, but we'll see. We'll see if the MSC has it. Who has it for you, Ron?
I have the MSC also.
Okay.
My Earth.
All
my
I've got is a
earthquakes.
couple of small ones on here from. Let's see.
Crud. All they have is Friday Harbor now. Earlier tonight, there was even more than that.
Yeah, and NR Canada's worthless, so.
Let me bring it up here.
I've got the Canadian agency and I'm checking right now.
Yeah, check
Yeah.
that. You know, NR Canada, they could be better.
Up in Whistler, we had a 1.5 magnitude earthquake up in Whistler earlier this evening. Friday Harbor, and we also had a small quake over at Mount St. Helens.
Did you ever get a mammoth quake?
I could never prove it. I could never prove it.
That was some signal that we had. Did you
Yeah.
show Scarlet that one?
No, I wasn't able to show her that. I told her about it.
Huge magma signature there.
That's
that
why
was
I was telling Ron that sometimes we got to be watching, you know, some of the other seismographs like down there from the southern earthquake from I forget who runs that. Ron said it earlier.
You can still go. You can still go to real-time seismogram displays under USGS.
Yep. Okay.
And back it up to see it.
That's a good idea.
It's still there.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Terry. So, you know, it's just good to stay on top of this because I think showing people the process of how we're getting to this idea, how we're looking through the research is important.
Yeah, it's very important. It's vital.
So the site that has the best signal is MCO on real-time seismogram displays under USGS.
Yeah.
Earthquake.usgs.gov.
We'll bring it up. Come on. Okay. My computer's not working with me right now. Look at it.
I'll see if I can find you again. I got so many tabs open.
I know that's always my struggle in life is that I have 3,000 tabs open and then it doesn't want to help me and then we struggle.
Isn't this under data products, Terry?
Yeah, it's under data products. I needed to go down here to this thing. I know that. Oh, no, real-time
Yes.
data. There it is.
Oh, there.
Yeah, there.
Found
Hold
it.
on. Oh, no, I know.
Found-
Okay, we're going to get it. Okay. Real-time notification speeds and web services.
No, it should be,
Data products, probably under monitoring.
Okay. Or data and tools.
see, I just find my way into it and then I just stay there and leave a tab open on it.
Right? Well, yeah, once I find it, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah.
I'm here for that. Okay, let's see. Let's
I
see.
can give you-
Real-time monitoring station. Okay.
I can give you the-
Albuquerque. Albuquerque Seismo Lab Station data. No, that's not it. Can't be it.
Yeah, it's just earthquake.usgs.gov.
GSN stations. There we go.
Where?
Here we go. GSN heliplots.
Oh, that's right. It shows up. You have to pick the stations out. There's a map, and you pick them out of there, I think.
You got to pick up MCO. Look at. I'm going to scroll down here to MCO.
And on the 14th, of course.
Where do I find that? I'm struggling here. Struggling, y'all. Oh.
Go over to. Need back up here.
Yeah, I'm struggling. Help.
Go over to data products, seismic stations, click on seismic stations, and you'll come to
A whole bunch
So-
of dots on a map. Is that the one, Ron? Bunch of dots on the map?
but I believe it's a bunch of dots on the map.
And then you have to go over to where Mammoth is and click on the right station. Yeah, you've got heliplots, and that's all.
Yeah, where am I supposed to go? No one's helping me out. Stations? Where we need to go?
You want, you don't want ANSS stations.
ANSS stations. There we go.
And then what station do I want?
MCO.
Oh, you do have it there. Okay.
Yeah. So then what station do I want?
NC, oh, I got MCO.
Let's see. Let's see if we can find it. I'm gonna try to go through the list quickly. Looks like I can go pretty fast. MSO. No, that's not it. We're gonna find it. Work with us here. It's our first night with this. I'm playing around. It's better than not having it.
Let's see here. I'm still looking.
I got you over there right away the first time, Ron.
Yeah, I'm trying to find MCO now. Is it halfway down the page or more?
Well, it's in the area of Mammoth.
Try to just grab it like going in on it.
Yeah, zoom in on it and find Mammoth.
Yep. It's up by, yeah.
Oh, this is a totally different one. Here, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
You guys are in a different spot entirely. I'm gonna back out one stage, and it should tell me where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, tell me where I'm supposed to be. Because that'll help me. 'Cause then I can get where you are, and then we can be on the same page. 'Cause I'm here for it. Okay.
MVCO is Colorado. MSO. MCM.
Maps.
Arkansas,
'Cause
Montana.
I think it comes up with a map, and I picked it off of a map. It's a map with a bunch of dots on it.
Regional seismic networks.
I can't
Special
remember how I
seismic
got there.
waveforms.
I just picked them all out and put them on my, and I did it.
Waveform
A month
data. Strong motion data. Seismic stations, International Registry of Stations.
I think it's, hang on.
I
Seismograph.
know, we're struggling.
Yeah, okay, hit seismograms.
Seismograms worldwide?
No, just seismograms, California.
Back out.
Okay, is that
Above
data
the blue box.
Okay.
products?
There should be seismogram displays, seismograms about the seismograms, examples, and spectrograph displays.
I don't see that.
No.
Yeah. I don't see that either, but I'm gonna try to figure it out. I'm here for it. I'm gonna figure it out.
There's 66 stations on the map, and that's not going to help you tell you.
Okay.
I think I went to California seismograms to start with.
Okay.
So I just keyword searched California seismograms and USGS or something. So start with a keyword USGS California seismograms.
Seismograms all stations. There we go, past 24 hours.
How'd you find this?
Over on that USGS site, it had an area where you could do search.
Yep.
I put California seismograms in it.
Okay. I'm gonna do that because if that's what you're saying to do, all right, I trust you, but I do, but
And you'll see there's a real cluster of them right at Mammoth when you get there.
MCS, MCB, MCO. Here we go.
hey
Here we
Ron,
go.
you can share. Are you looking at that on the computer? You can share yours too.
How do I do that?
Go to the bottom little thing and go to New Share,
Okay.
or you can hit Alt Shift S either way, and it'll force it to do it. And then yours will pop up.
Alt Shift S.
Yep.
Okay. Alt Shift S.
Nope. You should be able to share your screen.
Alt
Nope.
Shift S. Nope.
Hit the actual Zoom screen where you see the video. Then try Alt Shift S. Because at the bottom where it says Manage Participants, it also says Share Screen.
Oh, there. Bingo. And then click on Share.
Yep, Share Screen. And then you should be able to. There
Bingo.
we go.
There we go. There's where it is. It's Convict Moraine.
Boom.
Convict Moraine. Look at this, guys.
Yeah, I put Ron on this one earlier.
Yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah.
Look at this,
Oh, look at
guys. It's gradually increased since late last night through early this morning.
Yeah.
Look at it. And all day long.
And so if you hit the previous button, you'll be able to see what Mammoth normally looks like. You can go back about 6 seismograms and see what it's normally like. And then you can do a comparison, because looking at one seismogram means nothing.
True.
Go back 2 seismograms on the previous button on the top left side of the page. And you can see where activity starts to pick up on the 12.
I went back to yesterday. It showed some small quakes. One that started about 10:45, almost 11 o'clock. And it continued just to past 11 o'clock.
And you'll
And
see
then-
it had a really busy period, but not as busy on the 11th. And that was probably when we had the magma intrusion that
Right.
the guy was talking about.
The magma intrusion started last night at, well, this morning, our time. We had magma, actually it was last night.
Yeah,
The
because
real,
there was somebody in chat, not yesterday, but the day before, talking about magma intrusion on.
yeah. Yeah,
So
there
2 days
was.
ago.
And here we see it. We see significant magma intrusion. And this was last night, early this morning, guys. It started getting heavy, I want to say about 5 o'clock, well, even before that,
That was about
6:50
3
this
o'clock.
morning. Yeah, it started going about 3 o'clock, but it really got hard and heavy about 4:30 this morning, and it continued. Got hard, very heavy.
Yeah, and I think that's likely enough to cause a very small eruption at Mammoth.
Yeah. Now, the same thing happened on Sunday. Sunday at 9:20 something in the morning, Sunday morning. We had a small earthquake, probably a 1.5, 1.9, something like that. And then we had a couple more earthquakes about 6, well, excuse me, not 6, 4:45 p.m. And then it continued to about 5:30 or so. And then the magma intrusion again started on Sunday night, about 45 hours, 8:45 p.m. We had another small minor earthquake, and we had several others very minor about 1 o'clock, 1:30, 1:15 in the morning. And it just continued.
Yeah,
The magmatic infiltration, whatever you want to call it, was then too Sunday night into Monday morning. It just continued.
I was talking about how the activity had picked up at Mammoth, and that's
it shows.
Yeah,
it shows. Saturday, you ought to see it starting Saturday 8 o'clock in the morning. I went back to Saturday, January 11th, 8 o'clock in the morning. You ought to see what happened 8 o'clock in the morning to about 3. Well, it got lighter about 3:40, and then it got a little bit heavier about.
It's having the same thing happen as Rainier now.
Right.
It's having crustal movement, and then it's having infill.
Yeah.
You see that green and blue down there?
Yep.
That's crustal movement.
Yeah. Folks, I went back to Friday night, Saturday morning. If you go back to Friday, January 10th, you'll see small minor earthquakes starting about 3 o'clock in the afternoon going on. And then
those are magma pulses, Ron.
Yeah. Okay, magma pulses.
That looks like it.
Go up a little bit on your screen.
Yeah.
Like when Mary Greeley would show that, it would show those intrusions quite often.
Yes.
This is a mix. This green one, that's the largest, and the blue one the same. They're called a mixed signal. You get fracture spikes mixed in with magma infill pulses.
Yeah.
Because when you get enough of a pulse, it causes a little bit of fracturing with it, and that's why you get the spike. The spike relates to a rock fracture. The vibrational pulse is magma infill, and so you get a complex signal when the signal gets bigger. When they're small, they just show as lumps or blobs.
Yeah.
Like the one below the blue one in black is more just of a blob shape.
Yeah.
And that's also magma infill.
Yeah.
And then down at where January 11th starts.
Yeah, right at midnight.
That's crustal movement vibrations all through there. That's what you're looking at there. They look entirely different And they look different on this seismogram than they do on Baker or Rainier. It's a different type of seismogram, so it gives you a little bit different type of a signal, but that's still a crustal movement signal. So you can see with the length of the line being 15 minutes each, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are they 20-minute lines? Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3. No, they're 20-minute lines. So there's 17 minutes on the top line and 18 minutes on the bottom line. So that's a 25-minute long, or sorry, 35-minute long period of crustal movement. So the crust moves steady for 35 minutes, as shown by the combination of the blue and the green line.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible movement. You know, there's all sorts of fracture in there.
Well, just after the green, you see an elevated black line.
Right.
And that's continued crustal movement, but at a lower level. And then you see a fracture of a little, maybe 1.0 earthquake strike right after that, or mixed in with the black line.
Mixed in with it, yeah. Yeah. It's amazing.
But some of what you were looking at earlier, we should go back and look at MBW on PNSN, because I need to explain a couple of things there.
I got it. Do you want me to do it, Ron? Because I can also do it. Did you know that?
Hey, why don't you do it?
Okay, all right. Now, I'm going to stop yours.
Okay.
And I'm going to go share mine. But we can do it multiple at once. It does allow you to do a bunch at once.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
You do it.
All right, I'm going to do it.
Scarlet's going to do it.
I'm going to see if I can find you again. I lost you. Here you are.
All right. Here we are. Now.
Oh, now you're on recent earthquakes. You want seismograms. There
Yeah, we just got here. All right. We're on to the map. Which one are we looking at?
MBW, Mount Baker, Washington. And go back to yesterday. So on that seismogram, let's look at the black on the very top first. So scroll it down just a hair. Oh, I guess that is where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
I meant scroll it up, I guess.
Okay,
So I'm going to skip the black signal on the top line and just go to the after 1800 because you can see the whole waveform.
Okay.
So the blue single strike lines all the way through there.
Yep.
There's a little bit of a curve signal on one of them. Now I'm going to show you a bigger one. Go down to 1200, down on the bottom. I'm going to show you what a steam burst signal looks like first. Because
it's a curve.
So on the red line at 1300, you can see that's crustal movement in that heavy line. Okay, that's what you're looking at.
Okay.
And then you come across to 7 minutes and 10 seconds or something, and you see 3 curved lines. And if you look below them, there's spikes associated with them. They spike up and down as well. See those curves?
Yep.
With lines associated? That's water in the magma bursting into steam.
Oh. So that's like the phreatic little blasts.
Yeah, little tiny ones.
Yeah.
So they're internal steam bursts. Now you see the black strikes on the right that are beside the large blue strike?
Yep. These right here?
Yep. That's actually just crustal movement vibrations.
Oh.
And that blue one on the right, beyond that,
Correct.
is a combined small fracture, like a 0.5 earthquake and a steam burst associated with it.
Oh, yeah. See, so this would be the steam burst right here, this little signature, right?
Yeah.
And then here's the crustal movement.
Yep.
No, that's a fracture of the crust. It's not
Oh, that's a
crustal movement.
fracture. Oh, it's a fracture. So it's just a
So
break.
it's the steam has accumulated from the couple of signals on that line. Plus, in red, they downsized the signal. They've got algorithms they attach to this stuff, and they change the signal sizes throughout the same size.
Yeah, and what they're actually taking it in as, correct.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So it had a whole bunch of steam bursts through all that red stuff that's a line above the black stuff. Okay, so all those red lines are actually just as big as the blue lines, but their algorithm changed the size.
That makes sense. Because you
Anyway,
have to be able to
you've got-
fit the data on there, so you want the points that make the most sense. But if more than one thing's happening at once, you can only really show.
No, they mess. You're supposed to leave the amplitude set the same all the
Oh,
time.
of course you are. But
And
if
what
I
they're
was USGS,
what they're doing is they're mucking with the data. They don't want people to be able to read this stuff.
no. Because if we can read it, then we can start getting patterns. But if they can play with the magnitudes and make it very weak or turn it up too high to where you can't see anything,
Yeah.
then we now have an issue. You can't
So-
read it.
At 902, you see all the red strikes and the
Right.
steam bursts above the line, and there's a whole series of them. There's like 30 of them in that series of strikes.
Right.
So those are closely spaced, and there's curved lines associated if you look really close.
Right.
And the black line is the next line, and there's a bunch more. Is that steam bursts? I'm looking really close. I can't tell if those black lines have steam bursts in them. I think they're just crustal movement.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
And
I
then
think
you
I
get
can
to
read
the,
a little
but you get to that big fracture because the blue line is below the red line and the black line, and that's why you get the earthquake signal on the blue line, because you've got an accumulation of stress from all that steam bursting inside, and that's a fracture that's caused by the steam pressure accumulation in the mountain.
Now, what are the white spaces between these signals?
Like here.
Dents in the drum,
They're what?
little dimples in the drum.
Okay. I was wondering why. We'd seen, Scarlet and I had seen quite a few, even larger than that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes there's issues with the stylus, sometimes there's issues with the drum.
And so that would just be the signal isn't getting picked up correctly or whatever it is. It gets reset and then we're back in business.
Yeah.
So
you
they're
really-
really still just taking this from like a very primitive system and putting it onto a very digital place.
Yeah, but what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to have all the seismograms in sync with times, and
Right.
they don't. They got the times wrong, because I'm able to pick out specific earthquakes that happen in specific locations and find out that their time is sometimes out by an hour and 40 minutes, sometimes it's out by 35 minutes. So they messed with the times, they messed with the amplitude, and they messed with the amplitude setting on the same page that you're looking at.
Right.
So it's really, really challenging to use PNS seismograms.
Right.
Sometimes they
this
mess
is-
with them, sometimes they don't.
Right.
Yeah. Go to RVC. And you'll see lots of information there to look at. Am I too loud?
No, you're actually perfect. I'm assuming no one's complained, so I mean,
I'm just checking because I have a loud voice.
Right.
My older patients thought it was great.
Oh,
RBC, you said, correct?
No, our Romeo Victor Charlie.
There we go. I was like, no, that doesn't come up, but there we go.
We might as well glance at today's date while we're at. Yeah, it's pretty active in there.
It is.
So you see all those single strikes in there?
Yes.
Some of them have a curved signal attached to them, and those are steam bursts, right? Some of them don't have a curved line attached to them, and those are crustal vibrations. Some of the heavy lines that are much the same size are crustal movement, but when you get the mixed signal with the spikes through it and the lumps in the lines, that's all magma infill.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yep. It's so much movement that it can only be the signature of magma info, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not just quite one thing. Each thing individually would be, but when you see these signatures all together close and with this, that's probably what the signature you would see.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you'll notice on the red baseline at 1700, there's not very much information on the baseline. It's pretty quiet. There's a little bit, not much. This seismogram's actually set a little bit low, but not bad.
now why do we not have any instrumentation after about 2100 hours?
Because it's right now.
Oh, that's right. Duh. Yeah. Okay.
Back it up a day, and we'll look at a whole seismogram.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
right.
we'll look at because that was for today because we just went to a new one though. That's why.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. I forgot. My bad.
It's all good.
And there you can see the spikes are larger in size. See how much larger the spikes are when they've got a curve on them on this seismogram than the other seismogram?
Right.
At the top of the page, the amplitude is set correctly. But look at how big the steam burst signals look on this page. And now you know that the other page is only set at half the amplitude.
Right.
Because if you do a comparison, this is how big they should be. And all those ones that you were looking at Baker should have been this big as well.
Oh. Okay, yep.
Comparative analysis makes all the difference.
That helps you realize which ones are set higher, which ones are set lower, which ones are kind of, by looking at them all, will show you what.
Yeah, you can't just look at one or two seismograms and just on the same day. You've got to look at multiples, and then you can do science is all about comparisons, right?
Right. Because then you can take an earthquake that even if you have one that you know that came through at the time, you can compare it to there and then try to look. That's how I learned how to read seismographs, was I would try to find the earthquake that I saw somewhere and use iris and then look at everywhere else where it came in, what the signature looked like, to start becoming comfortable with what it looked like when earthquakes came in.
Yeah. Now, there's not a single earthquake on this page. That's all magma and steam.
Oh, yeah. No, I meant that in a general.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you said anything.
No.
I'm just explaining. And
in case anybody
PNS and USGS don't report magma signatures.
No. And they should, but they don't.
You want to see an interesting one? We'll go to Eastern Washington, go to ELL. I don't know if I've even taken Ron to this one.
Yeah, you did a while back.
Right.
Yeah, I did too.
Here we are.
Those are magma pulse signatures And the thick lines are plate tectonic movement. That's one plate rubbing over top of another plate. There's a subducted plate under eastern Washington, and one plate is sliding under the other, sliding over the partially melted and then risen up against the underside of the crust, subducted plate. And that's why you get a plate rub. Otherwise, you wouldn't get a plate rub. But
Right.
you get land rise because plates subduct, and then they come up because they're lighter than magma, and they come up under the crust and they cause the land to rise. And that's why you can get a crustal rub signal that's just the same as subduction so far inland, because this is on the other side of the Cascades now in eastern Washington.
Wow.
And those black, blue, and red blotches are magma pulses of magma traveling between the plates and near the surface. There's a rise of magma occurring in that area. You can back it up one day and see what it looks like as well.
On it. Oh, you could tell this one's set way different.
Yeah, it's half the. It's set at maybe it's something close to 50% of the volume, maybe 60%, something like that. And then you can back it up another day and do a comparison. But you can see the heavy lines all through, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely see these as, oh, where's my cursor? Okay, here as the intrusion lines, you know. There's your signatures.
And those heavy lines are what?
The signature of the intrusion. You said of the magma, right? The info.
No, that's the crustal movement
Crustal
vibration.
movement. Okay. So that's the vibration, not the breakthrough.
Yeah, crustal movement vibrations, and the larger signals are magma pulses.
There's a lot of vibration going on.
Well, and it's because it rubs and rubs and rubs, right? And then that's what we're expecting. Eventually, it's going to rub itself into either breaking down or off.
Yeah.
You know, that's the idea that we have. That's why it's subducting, and the plate is trying to push under, and one's moving over.
Now, I could be a little bit wrong for some of those lines, because you'll also get referred signatures, sounds, vibrations from other sites.
True.
And they will show as lines like this as well. So I'm not 100% on everything that I believe, because I have to look at enough nearby sites and track through them. So there'd be some, usually when, I'm just thinking back, usually when the crust is moving, maybe scroll down to the bottom of the page and then go to the next one, and we'll see if there's a series of lines, because usually it moves for about an hour at a time, and they're like one after the other.
Look at that.
Yeah, so that's series, no. Yeah, you can look at a lot of magma movement for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on this site which is magma flow versus pulses versus crustal movement. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, because that's why I kept getting like, you know, because I'm like, but that looks.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Because there's go to JORV. It's Eastern Oregon.
Yeah. Jordan Valley.
I haven't been looking at these sites for long that I just know the names, right?
Right. It helps me because I get to it faster. Here we are.
And
This is one that I really like. Look at what's going on already tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the top line is just full.
Yeah.
So you want me to go back?
Yeah, go back a day.
Hi, Holly.
Alrighty. Look at that.
Okay, you see that period from 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock?
Right.
That's crustal movement because it happens all tight together and it's all
Okay.
about the same size.
Right.
When it shows up under the volcanoes, they work as resonators, and then you get really, really furry lines. It's like mold growing by comparison to a little bit of, I don't know. That's a poor description, but I'll take you back to Mount Baker and we'll see some plate movement there compared to this. This is just a quieter signal. And I think it's a quieter signal because there's magma between the plates. So there's less hard of a rub. But then you get into the magma movement that's associated with the plate movement. And you can see it, and all the rest of it's magma movement after the plate is moved.
Now that magma movement is also precipitating faster plate movement because it's hot. It's melting.
Yeah.
It's like oil between the plates.
I was gonna say it's like a lubricant to the plate, so it's not gonna have as distinct as a rub feature or as distinct as a signature, where you're getting that crustal harmonics, of rubbing, but it's going to be like almost like a hydraulic fluid in a way.
So you see that crustal movement mixed in with the magma signatures down until something between 7 and 8 o'clock. And then it gets to such a mixed signal that you can't tell anymore.
Right.
And now we'll go over to Mount Baker, and we'll just get to a seismogram where you can see the same sort of crustal movement as this section, but at a volcano, which changes it entirely. When it's under a volcano, go back to MBW, and we'll just get to a good day.
And it's taking a minute. Of course.
I get confused by some signals, and I have to think about it for a bit too. Just back up 2 days, I think. No, that's a ton of steam burst. Back up another day. There.
Do we know if
There,
Baker's
that's plate
steaming
movement
today?
right there from, sorry, Ron, 1900 to wherever the blue line is. That's plate crustal movement at the volcano, like right underneath it. And it's the same thing as East Washington or East Oregon where we were looking, except it changed the signal entirely. It works, a volcano acts as a resonator, and you get these great big long lines.
So it's almost like you hear the scream from farther. It almost echoes it like a funnel. You put kids put a paper towel tube up to their mouth and it sounds louder. It's that idea that it becomes that.
Yeah, it's a resonator or an amplifier.
Right.
So that's how I interpret that signal, that it's crustal movement. And then there'll be magma that's mixed in with there and stuff too.
Right. And then the steam bursts as well.
Yeah, and you can normally see after that crustal movement, you'll see the pickup in magma movement signals starting at about 3 o'clock.
Yeah. And there have been seismograms that we've seen that it is just like this upper part of this page. There's no white at all. None.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get to that at RBC and go back a couple of days, and you'll see at Boyd Creek, but it's not due to the same plate movement. It's all magma infill.
Wow. You know, when you see it and you start understanding what the signatures are, you can see how layered it is. I mean, you can see that line behind there that's, you know, your base, you know, from about like the 2300 line on here. You can still see the action, but you can see that this is some layered movement.
Yeah.
And how did they explain that? You can't just say that this is a silent and still monitor.
No. They just don't talk about it. That's what they do. They ignore it entirely.
Exactly. And I think people need to understand that, because they're like, well, how can they? Well, they're looking at this every day. This is the material they're supposed to be working on. But yet we never hear anything about any activity.
You know what? They also use computers to do most of their work. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have an algorithm that just excludes stuff that doesn't fit earthquake patterns.
True. Good point. Anything that isn't anomalous, you know, if it's not set up to let them know in advance, you're right, it probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
And if the government doesn't install it for them, they're not going to have it either.
No.
And it's a good excuse to not report stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not that you can't check, but they can use it for an excuse. It's a plausible deniability in place.
Well, isn't that the truth? Like what we talked about earlier with the stormquakes, you know, they acted like, oh, well, now we have to look into it because this could be playing a factor in how, you know, weather is perceived. But for so long, they researched it for over 13 years and never said a peep.
Yep.
You know, this is how they get away with it.
Uh-huh. Well, it's that and the public. If you don't have very many of the public that are watching a lot of seismograms.
True. Yeah, it's a very small group of people who is actually watching, looking, and then interpreting at that.
Yeah. Oh, go over to Glacier GPW for a sec. I'm going to show you guys a harmonic tremor versus an earthquake.
Okay.
Because Glacier Peak, well, Baker for that matter, Baker's too busy to look at harmonic tremors, but Glacier Peak's quieter and you can see them better there. Because harmonic tremors are caused by temperature differential in the volcano. Back up a day. Because the magma rises and parts of it cool because they're against the rock. And you get a circulation inside the volcano. So back up a day.
Yep.
And scroll to where you can see the seismogram. Okay, in red, there's no tail on that red signal, that large red signal.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a harmonic tremor. It's caused by magma temperature differential and churning related to the temperature differential.
Now that makes sense because, yeah, you don't see the end of it. You know, you don't see the wave, you know, tail on it. You just see it start, stop.
Every earthquake has a tail.
Yeah.
Which is a body wave. And there's no vibrations after that one. And since there's no vibrations, it's strictly a harmonic tremor in the magma. And it's a normal sign found at every volcano. Every volcano that has a live magma chamber. And it's important to know the difference between harmonic tremors at volcanoes and earthquakes.
Right. Now, do harmonic tremors always occur with magma?
Yeah. You won't
get a drum beat.
You won't get them every day, but you'll get them most days. Days. Often two of them. When the seismograms were dead quiet, I still got harmonic tremors like these.
You gotta think of it, Ron, like a heartbeat or like the blood pumping through. That's what like the tremor is. So
Right.
like when that magma gets good and like when you can hear your heartbeat in your ears, that would
Right.
be like the harmonic tremor.
Yep.
That's like the best metaphor I could think of, you know, for that. That's how you know activity is starting to get going and good, you know.
Right.
Well,
So
actually,
you've been
that's-
running around and, you know, now you can hear it.
yeah, it's a normal volcanic or volcano signal every couple of days, once a day, twice a day, and they're of no consequence.
Right.
They're just part of what the volcano normally does.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just like it's like I said, the heartbeat of the volcano, I guess, is the best way to
Yeah.
say it.
Oh yeah, go over to RBC. Ron was talking about really, really busy sites.
Yeah. Voigt Creek.
And we'll just back up through a couple of seismograms and you'll see it. Yeah, back up some more. And another one. So you see how busy it is at the bottom there, right? And then it carries on to the next page. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours there. And then go to the next page and add on what else is there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more hours, 10.
Yeah. So
10
you
more
have
hours.
15 hours of very heavy activity, and that's not as heavy as White Creek or Mount Rainier gets. It gets worse than that, believe it or not.
Wow.
You want to back up and see a couple more, Ron, to show
Sure.
her how bad it goes?
Yeah, let's go back a couple more days.
There you go. Look at the top of that page.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at the signatures. How can anybody in their right mind say, oh, that's normal? That's not any background activity. You guys, it's wind. It's wind.
Yeah.
They make these things in boreholes that are 30, feet down in the ground, concrete, spring loaded, all these other fancy whistles. But now you say it's wind?
Yeah, especially with snow on the top of it.
Right.
There's snow covered right now.
Right.
People, I laughed at the person who says, "Oh, that was wind and people walking by." Really?
People?
That's
It
what
wasn't Bigfoot?
just a few days ago.
We
a few
found
days ago.
Bigfoot then.
Yeah, a few days ago, somebody said, "Oh, that was people walking by. That was
People.
wind and people."
You're not understanding. This is a cross between Bigfoot and Thumper.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
I come from the land of Paul Bunyan. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, you found Paul Bunyan then. Like, because there's no way that it's I don't care if I'm stomping. I don't care if it's my 2-year-old, my 4-year-old tantruming. Okay?
Yeah.
You're not picking that up in a borehole that was specifically designed to not pick up outside sounds.
Yeah.
That's what it was made for.
Oh, yeah.
Do not let them fool you otherwise. But that's what they're trying to tell us. Oh, no, it picked up other sounds, this or that. Why would
There's
you
no activity on that page. That's all artifact.
Yeah, why would you create something that could pick up outside signatures? It's a waste.
But look at how many of the other pages are busy. Like, apparently there's a storm there every day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
People are just running out in mass, jumping on the borehole. Like,
And one of our viewers that tried to tell us today that, oh, this never happens and it's always quiet. All the seismos are all the same. Really?
are they?
they're not.
Just from what we've shown tonight, because see, now we have upgraded our technology. Now we can show you.
Yes.
So is it really?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
The seismos are not all the same. The seismos vary from day to day.
And vary by the terrain that they're in, because they're all in different terrain. They're all in different areas. They're all with different crustal placements, different bedrock, different this potentially. You know, it's hard to say.
So I'm going to take you to another site, but I'm going to have to minimize you for a sec to find out what it is, because I can't remember.
Okay.
Come on, minimize. I am viewing Scarlet's screen. Yeah, I know I am. Oh, Scarlet, would you drop your screen for a minute? Because I can't get out of, I've got everything blocked by your screen.
Oh, okay. Is that better? I don't know why it's taking everybody's screen, but I'll figure that out.
Yeah, you've still got control of my screen.
Do I? Okay, hold on. Let me stop the share then for 1 second, and then we can restart it. That's the nice thing about this. We can restart it and stop it at any time.
Now I can get to my pages of data.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about this is I can restart it, stop it, make it work, take it back.
So this site doesn't look like much, but you're going to go there because it's not a great seismogram, but it doesn't matter. So it's CLCV. Charlie Lima, Charlie Victor.
Charlie Victor. And then is it just dot, like cl.cv?
It should, well, it ends up being BHZ, but that's how you find it. You just put in CLCV on the map.
Okay. There we go. And we're loading. Oh, wow. It's like a party.
Yeah.
That page is not telling you anything. Back up one.
Yeah, I know. It's so small and so close together.
Yeah, but that's the way this seismogram is. It's just not a very good seismogram.
Right.
Now, you see the activity that's on it.
I do.
You can't make it out super well what it is, but this is Crater Lake, Fleetwood Cove. Now back up a day.
Okay.
And just have a glance at it. Now back up another day. And another day. And another day. We're doing comparative analysis here.
Oh, okay. Now you start to get to calm down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you get back to the 8th is still busy.
Okay.
Now you get back to the 7th. There's not much on the page. There's a large earthquake somewhere in the middle of the page. It's not at this site. It's picking up a distant earthquake. And you can see they changed the intensity, but there's only a little bit on the on the 6th. It's basically a screen that doesn't show very much. But if there was anything much there, it would show up.
Right.
And we're going to just go back to about the 2nd or the 3rd. On the 4th, you see a couple of lines, about 3 lines of activity right in the middle of the page.
Yes.
But other than that, it's fairly quiet, right?
Correct.
And when you get back to the second, this is about when this site started changing. So it was always like, pretty much like it was on the second.
Okay.
On the first, there's a little bit there, but not a lot. You can see the activity has tapered way down. You'll get a day that's busier, like on the 1st of January. And it takes a little bit of time to do this, but to get back to the 31st, there's almost nothing on the page. And the previous page, they had it shut off for half the day. You have to go back to the 29th, and it was shut off for half a day. And this is why I wasn't using this site. They had it shut off for a while. And I kept going back and checking.
See if it would come back.
Yeah. And so now you can go forward and you can see the activity level change that starts on the 31st. And just continues to get busier on average. And that's what's happening at Crater Lake itself.
And no one can say that is just, oh, that's just background noise, nothing to be concerned about. I don't see how you can say that.
Yeah, you can see that on the 3rd, it's getting there. On the 4th, it's a little busier. It's not too bad on the 6th. It's quiet on the 7th. So the average is still pretty low. And then you get to the 8th and it's suddenly quite a bit busier. And then you have a quiet day. And that's the way it goes. You have quiet days and busy days. But the average of the days, busyness goes up. Have you gotten to the 11th yet?
Almost. On the 10th, 11th.
There, you can see what happens on the 11th. That's the busiest day that we've had ever since the start of the month, right?
Right.
And that's your next high level, and then we just keep going from there. And the 12th is just as busy pretty much. And the 13th is just as busy pretty much. And the 14th, well, now that's what a slow day looks like under the new program of accelerated activity.
Right. And so we even have to be aware of patterns of, new activity within, old norms and new patterns.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not about looking at one volcano on seismogram. You have to go back and establish what the activity level used to be, and then do a comparison to know what you're talking about. And that's why somebody can't come on the program and say, there's no change in activity. I watch all the time. No, you don't.
Right? Call them out, Terry. Call them out. You're right. It's true, though. No, you don't. That's a lie. Stop. Please just stop.
Yeah.
And a lot of people come in to troll, too. But if you're actually looking and make an honest effort like we just did, and actually went through it with you guys, like we would ourselves, you see there's something different.
It is.
Yeah, I just showed you a significant change that's about a tripling of activity in the last over the last 15 days.
Yeah.
2.5 times maybe. So the average activity level is 2.5 times higher over a
And who knows how many times higher if we could actually quantify what they're turning these down to.
Yeah, well, this one stays at pretty much the same amplitude all the time.
Yeah, it looked like it, but some of the lines on some of the days looked really, really small, which means they turned it down. And
Yeah.
so if we could actually quantify that, I think we could nail them to the wall a little harder if we actually knew what like amplitudes they were using.
Yeah, I just, you know what, we're so close to the tail end of everything going, and it won't matter.
Yeah,
I kind of
true.
don't worry about nailing anybody down.
Well, just to be able to prove like, hey, you're turning it down, you know, just
Yeah.
for us to know. Yeah. I mean, not that we can't look at the changes, but it would be nice to know by how much. Is it really 2 times as much, or is it 200 times change?
Exactly.
But what works is if you have a known earthquake size, or a known earthquake with a given size,
Right.
that's in like the 4 range. A 4 range earthquake will transfer a lot of energy for a long distance and show up on the seismograms for a long distance. And if you work yourself away from where the earthquake happened, the size of the earthquake should get smaller as you get further away. Well, we had the 6 north of Vancouver Island, and I had larger signals in California than I did at any of the Cascade Range mountains except for Mount Baker. Mount Baker was the only one that was set properly. How do you get a larger earthquake signal in California than you do at Mount Rainier? You still there?
Yeah, I would imagine that would mean that the earthquake is coming from there and not Mount Rainier.
Well, what it means is that the seismogram sites are turned down so low that even though California is 700 miles away, it still picks up the earthquake better in California than it does at the Cascade Range volcanoes, except for Mount Baker.
Well, that's just it, because otherwise it would make you think that it was closer, right? But it does show you that when they have these turned down, that it affects how you see the earthquake.
Yeah,
it affects how you see the wave, because now it may look insignificant, where on another it looks like it was the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
So if you know where the earthquake occurs and you know how well that that earthquake is picked up from that site normally, because you've been watching that site for 2 years, then you can say right away, without working too hard mentally, because you figured this out already, you can say, okay, well, that earthquake should transmit really well to this site, yet it's not showing much of a signal. So this site is running at a 2.7 should be this large from this site. And since it's only half as large as it should be, the site's only running at half the amplitude that it should be.
Right. They manipulate. We've been talking about this.
Well, and I wonder too with 5G if they haven't had to affect some frequencies too. We don't know what frequencies it affects, so it could
they've been doing it for years. Yeah. They've been doing it for years. It's an intentional algorithm that they run. There's when you go to Chiloquin, which is CHIL, you will see that they've got a automatic amplitude adjustment series going on with this volcano. You can pace it back every something like 4 days. They have the amplitude set correctly. And then it'll gradually change to being very weak, and then it'll go back up again, then it'll go down again, then it'll go back up again. I'm serious. Yeah. It's an automatic algorithm attached to this site.
Well, and it makes sense because it's easier for them to hide it then, and it makes it harder for the average person to search.
Yeah, so if you look at the 14th, they're not showing a full day, but you can see the baseline all over the place, right? It's really easy to see the baseline. And then you back up a day, and what happened to the baseline? It doesn't even look like the same seismogram, right? So when the baseline disappears, you don't have any waviness at all. The site is turned way down. And aren't all of the signals much smaller suddenly? but they're the same duration.
Right.
And so now back up another day. That's what they're supposed to look like.
Right.
This page and the previous page, the one that we saw before this, are the same.
Right.
And you only see the signal properly from after 3 o'clock on. And above that, it's turned down too low.
Yep.
Half the pages is turned down and half the page is turned up to where it's supposed to be.
You know, honestly,
Actually,
that,
no,
that,
it
that
was-
would be crimes against humanity when it's all said and done.
Actually, in this case, I'm wrong. I'm having a good close look at the baseline. They turned it down a little bit, maybe, but you can see the baseline all the way through. It just got more active for half a day. So I'm going to pull back on that one. And then go back one more day.
Okay.
And you can see the baseline all the way through. So that one's not bad. You always start by looking at the baseline. If the baseline is consistent through the seismogram, then it's about right. Now you can see the baseline is only half as active as it was on the previous seismogram, and I'm on the 11th.
Okay. I will go to the 11th. I'm on the 10th, but I'm here with you. 11th. Got it.
So you can see the change in the baseline. And you
Yes.
kind of have to look all the way through the seismogram and establish what the baseline is. And this one isn't set nearly as to the same level it was on the 12th. And that's why the signals are smaller. And you go back to the 10th, and we had a more active day. The 10th and the 11th are actually, the baseline's about the same size. So these signals are about something like 60% of what they should be. They should be about 40% larger on the 10th, as established by what the baseline waveform is.
Okay, so they're asking me to check Davenport, Washington. Which one? Give me a name. If you're gonna ask me to check it, give me a name in chat.
Oh, am I on here with chat?
Chat is here on. Well, you could look at the Freedom Revolution Network, but yeah, chat would still be up.
Oh, okay. I thought we were just chatting between us all here. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, we still have the people. The people are still here.
I didn't know. I thought it was 3 of us.
Right? Terry's just like, I don't care. We're doing this. No, it's great. But yeah, no, we still have the people. They're still hanging in here. They've been hanging in here with me and Ron quite a bit, and me and Ron have been here forever.
Yeah.
We've been like a fixture tonight. It's been real. We started at 5 o'clock my time. So that just shows. But I think it's something to watch. Have you been watching the earthquakes otherwise, Ron, to see if anything has been coming through while we've been on?
I will check again right now.
Thank you.
It's been off and on.
It has been off and on tonight. We've seen some activity. We've seen it calm down. We've seen it ramp up again. But we
Yeah.
just
I wonder if they wanted you to look at the Chrisman Ranch site.
Yeah, we ought to look at that one.
DAVN.
Yeah, everybody said they're just here listening and learning, so they're here
Okay.
they're hanging in too. So
I'm not responding to anybody's chat because I can't see it.
right. Well, I can see it and I'll relay messages as necessary. Got it. Now I've got a direct connection. I can just relay questions and all the things. Here we go.
Hey, I can be on the computer.
No image found. Dun, dun, dun.
Now I know. Now you have to back up 3. They've taken the site down.
Have they?
I think you have to back up about 4 or 5 days.
By the way, we've
There we
had
go.
another 3.0 over at the Gorda Escarpment near Petrolia.
Oh, okay.
20 kilometers, 10 miles west of Petrolia over on the Gorda Escarpment. Now, this one is just barely east. I mean, barely east of the Cascadia subduction zone. It's right there.
Yeah.
And then just past that, going south, we only have one earthquake that they are saying hit the geysers just a short while ago. I'm going to check that on the other site here just to see what's going on. I don't believe there's only one earthquake.
Yeah, I just happened to pop in and look at my email, and there was oh, you should be Zooming with us.
Yeah. I wanted you to join us, Terry.
I've boxed up all my stuff for an earthquake, and I need a certain brass fitting for my 10 times more efficient generator to hook onto my paint pot that
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
using for a gas container. And oh yeah, you should see my. It looks like a science experiment going on in here. Coils of pipe and taps and shutoffs and things. Temperature gauge.
No, there's still 20 plus
It's like
earthquakes out there.
It's like a mothership.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, Terry, if I was you, I would be doing the exact same thing. So I don't blame you one iota or bit.
No,
Yeah,
I don't either.
Because if I was in the Pacific Northwest, I would be getting everything ready. I would be making my own stills. I'd be, making
Well,
my
I
own
already made-
fires.
yeah, I got those done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I've got a 10-gallon and a 2-gallon.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, no, that's perfect. These are the things I would be getting ready for because, I mean, we don't know.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to bring it biblical, like the Lord said, it'll be like a thief in the night. We won't know. So
Oh, excuse me.
we can't assume, but I think if the best we prepare each other and ourselves in the idea of, the better chance we have to make it through.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, this is definitely going to happen, and I'm very happy we have some extra time. Back up DAVN a couple of days.
Okay.
Because it doesn't look like much. That was just before they shut it down.
Blanchard, Oklahoma just had another 2.9 there.
Okay,
So I mean, it's picking up.
that's right at the bend, and those are earthquakes. And those, you can go back day by day, just give a quick look at them and then move to the next day.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's some activity.
unreported Eastern Washington earthquakes every day.
Look at these.
Yeah. See, they can't deny. They
Yeah,
shouldn't
how
be
do you
able to
deny
this.
this? This should be crimes against humanity, y'all. Crimes against humanity.
And then
Seriously, honestly, truthfully, these people, whoever made this little plan, because you can't hold the people on the bottom, necessarily held liable. But whoever came up with this, that put this in like the official notes or the classified notes or something.
So guess why they turned the site off?
Why?
Look at it. They don't want everybody seeing this.
Oh, yeah, no, that's bad. Yeah, you're right. Because look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, signatures of quakes and then the coming in strong signatures.
Yeah.
You can't deny these signatures. They're
You
there.
know where this is?
I do not know where this
It's
is.
right by the bend, just south of the bend of the Columbia River,
Oh, right.
and right by a bunch of dams. And I think it's an old volcano at this spot.
Oh, yeah, let me go check. Speaking of dams, I need to go check on Mississippi right now.
Yeah, this is unreal.
Yeah.
And it continues. This
It
is
does.
nothing new.
No.
This is nothing new.
Let's go.
But there's nothing on the seismograms, Ron.
I know.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. It's all the same.
Yeah, it's all the same.
You know,
Yeah.
don't fill me full of crap.
I mean, look at how tiny that is. They made
Yeah.
that tiny.
Well, no, actually, I think they just had a low activity day.
Think so?
I think they've had some low activity days. Just keep backing up, and you'll see it pick right back up again.
Right.
It just bothers me when they
There it
can
is.
continue to lie.
Okay. Yeah.
But you can see that it's smaller. Like you get fluctuations at sites. Just because it's busy one day doesn't mean it's going to be busy the next. So there are periods of increased activity, and it doesn't mean they've turned the site down necessarily.
No, but yeah, but once you look at a couple more days, you see, no, it's not. It is the same. It maintained, but it might just start. And that should make people question anyway. If it starts over time looking different, why the change?
Yeah.
Right.
And so it got so incredibly active out there that they shut the site down because they didn't want the public to see it. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
It's mine too, but they're going to deny it.
of course.
They're going to deny
Why
it.
wouldn't you?
They deny it every day. And
I mean, it seems kind of the smart thing to do. Deny. Deflect. Deny.
yeah,
Lie.
you can only deny and lie so long, and then it's going to bite them. And it's about to come to bite them. It's already biting them. There's a lot of people now that are going, what the heck is going on? And I know for a fact, I know 3 people that have written USGS and called USGS, and they deny it. There's only so much denial that can happen before people are going to say, screw you.
True.
And I also know 2 other people that have written to Washington, D.C. and have reported it. And I'm one other person that has done the same. You know, you can only hide this stuff for so long. You can only deny it for so long because it's there. It's there. When the earthquakes don't show up on the maps and the seismograms are here to prove it, there's a reason. They don't want people to know about it. Why? What are you hiding? What are you trying to hide? Tell people the truth. Do what's right for once.
That's too hard.
Yeah.
That's too much like right, Ron. It's too much like right. Can't do that.
Yeah.
Looks
I know.
like some of the good news for the first time all night. It looks like some of the flash flood warnings in Mississippi have been brought back.
That's good.
This is good. We're not getting the flash flood warning, emergencies. I should say flash flood emergencies. Now there is still flash flood warnings, but no flash flood emergencies. Dam break, still potential failure, possible. County officials are still taking actions to mitigate it. Life-threatening flash flooding of areas downstream from the Okatibah County Lake Dam along the Bibbawilla Creek and Trimcane Creek. Flash flooding will remain over mainly rural areas of north central Okatibah and south central Clay counties. So we still haven't had a dam breach yet, but we're still watching, waiting. Ron and I obviously will continue to watch and,
come back with you live. Probably
Yeah.
not again for like 6 hours, but we'll come back live with you again.
Well, it doesn't matter, 6 hours, 2 hours, whatever it is. We'll be back here live to tell you about it.
Right. Yeah.
We'll
We'll
be
back.
watching this.
But I don't know if we'll stay on as long as we did tonight.
Oh yeah, we probably won't stay on tonight as long as we've done already tonight.
Right.
But we'll be back to tell you about it because we have to keep everybody informed.
absolutely.
Everybody needs to know what's going on. We have people in Minnesota
Yeah, like me, Scarlet.
Well, yeah, there's TLO and about three or four others.
There's Barb.
over in-
There's Barb and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other people who are up here that I found out they're up here with me. So
Yeah.
we support them for sure.
Yeah.
We don't
We-
want anything to happen to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have people in North Dakota. We have people in Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan.
Florida, California,
Yeah.
New Mexico. We have Terry. He's a
Yeah.
Canadian.
Yeah, he's a Canadian. Canadian.
So
Terry, I'm
I
glad
just
I
had
can
to go
make fun
shovel
of
out my igloo.
you. Yes.
hey, I could have a igloo here too, though. At least we get cold temperatures.
Yeah.
I don't know
Hey.
if you guys ever get cold in BC. I mean, are you really
Oh,
even a
BC,
Canadian?
if you get away from the coast, you get cold, but not. We're having a cold snap right now. It's -7, which is Fahrenheit is.
I'll tell you what I am. I have
Or-
mine set right now to Celsius because a friend asked me earlier. I am currently -9. Feels like -15 Celsius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you've only got
Minnesota's
2 degrees
cold.
on. You've only got 2 degrees on me right now.
Yeah, see, good. But the Minnesota gets cold. Okay,
Yes, it
we
does.
stay cold. They're talking, by tomorrow night, -20.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
-22.
Yeah, we don't get that.
Yeah, we do. So that'll be tomorrow night. Will be -22. So
Yeah,
I can make my igloo.
you go-
I can live in the tundra.
If you go inland from the ocean and go over one set of ridges, the temperature drops about 15 degrees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. When
Yeah.
you think
It is
about
a
that
big deal.
insulation and temperature, especially for storms or moisture or snow, you're talking, the difference between rain and, mixed precipitation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a huge difference in the mountains and right near the water.
Yeah, I could actually see that. Yeah, we don't have any mountains here. It's pretty flat, so we don't deal with that. We're part of the Canadian Shield, though. So if we do break off, we'll probably come with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Breaking up is hard to do.
it is. It is. I wouldn't be too sad, though. I mean, I'd rather go. I know cold. I don't know warm and other things. I don't know that. But I do
That's the
know cold.
theme song for the Cascadia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's like a horror film that would be playing that on like a
Oh,
vintage
I know.
Victrola, right? And we just all walk in and then that's what we hear. It's like it's the beginning of the end. Here's your eternity. Purgatory. This song on repeat for the rest of your lives.
Right. Right now it's 26 degrees Fahrenheit here in Salt Lake. It's going down to, it feels like 20, and it's going to go down to 22 before it starts getting warmer in the morning.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
That is.
Yeah, because it's 16 here, otherwise -9. So you're a little warmer, but
It feels like 20 here, so
this feels like 5 here. It's pretty cold.
yeah, it is cold.
It's pretty burnt.
Yeah.
But we're supposed to get snow all week. We're going to get a foot of snow by the end of the week. So, yay.
Yay.
I'm not excited.
See, I've been there, done that. Back in cold old Fargo, North Dakota, where we used to get 4
They get it
feet of
worse.
snow.
They get it worse up there. I will say that Fargo used to get it worse because you guys always get blizzard warnings and they always
Yeah.
shut down 94
Yeah,
and then
they
you
do.
can't get nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at least we can move around in the cities here in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Fargo, no.
No, you might as well just stay home
Yeah.
because you're not getting anywhere. Stores aren't going to be open. They shut down the roads. I've never seen roads closed before.
Yeah.
They finally, we haven't had storms, but when you think about the grand solar minimum, and now we're in that solar cycle where we're starting out again, so it's going to be like 10 years ago. Well, that was when my son was born, and we had one of the harshest winters we ever had with the most snow.
Yeah.
And we got most of that between February and March, which March is the snowiest month of the year in Minnesota. So with that being said, it ain't over till it's over.
That's right. You're right.
So we'll see.
Yeah. But
I'm still going to stick with grand solar minimum is overshadowed by the brown dwarf this time around.
yeah.
Right. But it mixes in with too, because you think about, but that's why, I said it's important that somebody comes out and talks about all these things, because there's a lot of people who pick one specialty. But
Yep.
I, since the beginning, have thought that all of these things connect to each other, whether it's the pole shift, whether it's the grand solar minimum, whether it's, just earthquakes and seismic activity and volcanism increasing. All of these things have layers that connect to one another that are bringing us to the answer. And none should overshadow the other, because there are important parts of this, right?
It's a question of size in this case, because since the brown dwarf has credible science behind it.
Right.
The size, if you understand electric universe theory,
right,
it's going, when it gains proximity to the sun, it's going to have sun interaction through electromagnetic plasma exchange. And so that will have much greater effects on the sun itself than the grand solar minimum, because of the size and proximity.
Right.
So
there's another factor. It would be out further than even what the sun would be calculating for what should affect the earth.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So it has a significant sun change effects.
Right.
And those are greater effects than the grand solar minimum effects. The effects on the sun itself are greater than what the sun would do with the grand solar minimum.
Right. Be like an ultimate, that's why I try to tell people, when we think about it, yes, we have to think about the smaller cycle and the larger cycle, but we also have to think about, or if you'd like to call it Planet X, Nibiru, Planet 9, whatever you want to call it, it's still the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's a brown dwarf. Whatever the name is, it's still a brown dwarf.
Right. Yeah. And it makes, there's a lot of people who aren't trying to think about that, because, a lot of people are stuck on flat earth.
Yeah, there are some.
Yeah.
And that's hard. That's hard.
Oh, it is. But
it is.
The effects, the global effects, are so massive.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. You need a massive cause to have massive effects. And we've got massive effects, so we must look for the massive cause. And if you look for the massive cause and the science supports that there is a massive cause, why would you not accept the massive cause when you're having massive effects?
Right.
That's the way I see it. That's my scientific brain working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that it does. And when you brought that up, I brought that back up to Ron, and I was like, Terry's on point with that. I agree. I was like, I felt that way for a while too, that all of these things encompass. It's not just one piece. It's not just one thing. You can't just run with one theory on this.
No.
It's a multi-layered approach. And this is why it's hard, because it's not just one section of science. We've got so many different layers that have never been mixed before that people have talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And if, what is that theory where they, I must be tired, because it would normally
just come to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Occam's razor.
Right.
The simplest solution, if the simple solution provides a solution for everything, it's most likely the right solution. And